Welcome to Conversations Below the Surface, the CBS Podcast Shorts. I am your host, Marcus Gentry, and we hope you enjoy this episode. I would like to sit face to face with a very common expression that I've used in the past, and you've probably used it in the past too. In fact, I would like to invite you to sit face to face with this statement as well and look at it and look behind it and underneath it and see if it's really, really true. The statement that I'm talking about is this: you can't control someone else. Is that really true, that you cannot control someone else? Someone else's actions? Does that mean that everybody's actions then are of their own free will? Everyone has the freedom and they are exercising that freedom and no one is controlling anyone else? Is that really true? We say it. I've said it before. I don't say it anymore. If that's true, then we're saying that the massive number of slaves, people that were enslaved, did so of their own free will. Their actions were not controlled. Even though they outnumbered the slave masters, their actions were not controlled. They were operating according to their own desires to do that. If that be so, that you can't control someone else's actions, then that means that the marketers then really don't have any job to do. So you think the marketers are saying, well, we can't control people's actions, so that you think the people who create technology, the new phones and the new devices and the new cars and the style and the fashion, the clothes that we wear, or when we even go to a grocery store, the things that they have in the end cap, do you think the people who design the stores and design where they place what in have the same belief that the commoners believe, that you can't control someone's actions? And so people are operating as if they are in full control and doing what they want to do. Is it really true? The people who go to their places of worship, whatever that might be, are you doing that of your own free will, or have you had your actions controlled on some level, but you don't know it, you aren't conscious of it, because you've been of the belief that you cannot control someone else's actions? Carter G. Woodson made a statement, and I'm going to just tell you part of what he said. He said, if you control a man's thinking, you do not have to control his actions, or you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. That's what Carter G. Woodson said many, many years ago. Is that not true? Controlling a person's thinking ultimately controls their actions. I recently read something else that was saying that when you alienate people's perspective and then feed them consistently information from a particular perspective, then you limit their ability to consider anything else otherwise. And you do this so long that you no longer have to do it. They do it themselves. And don't we all know people who have now eliminated other perspectives, and they only see things one way, only one way politically, only one way religiously, only one way in terms of relationships? And this just begs the question, are you mentally free? Or are your actions being controlled because someone has been able to control your thinking? When we have a conversation below the surface, we have to ask these questions. We have to sit face to face with it. And we look in the face of this consideration and think about how we eat and the decisions that we make and what we decide to eat, and whether it's the fast food or any kind of processed food, and wherever we're getting our information from is causing us to have a particular perspective. And have we had that perspective so long that we no longer consider other perspectives? What about how we relate to other people? Are we just really choosing freely? Or has our choices been dictated because of the information that we have received and our thinking has been controlled? How about how we handle our money? What influences that? Our relationships with people, with money, with places, with things, with what we read, what we watch on television, what we consume, not just in terms of food, but intellectually. How much of that is being controlled because of the way we think, and our thinking having been controlled from a very, very young age? And I mean so young that maybe the control began before we had developed analytical skills or cognitive thinking processes so that we even knew how to separate the good from the bad or what was healthy from unhealthy. And now we're just practicing the same things over and over because we never took time to look in the face of control. Are you in control? And that's the whole purpose of this podcast short, is to ask us to pause long enough to consider, are we in control? That statement that we're looking at now, you can't control someone else. Are we being controlled? Have we been controlled to make the decisions and do the things that we're doing in our life, every aspect of our life? But it takes time, takes honesty, takes courage to sit still and ask these kind of questions and then look for the answers and then make some decisions based on that. Are you in control, or are you being controlled? Thank you for listening to this CBS Podcast Short. If you would like to hear more on this topic, please email me at respect@marcusgentry.com. And don't forget to check back for new episodes.